times. And then I just found when I got to the university that I missed the core things because the world is commerce and accounting and economics. I have learned those practically. At some point, I studied the SCCA, that's Association of Chartered Certified Public Accountants, and added that to my IT just to be able to understand the accounting in the systems that I was implementing, because I went around the country on a number of projects. And Microsoft Dynamics, which was a vision, is basically an accounting system, but in the category of what we call ERP. Do we know what an ERP is? Enterprise Resource Planning. When we are students, we try to write a system for accounting. We try to write a system for customer management. These systems have actually been written over and over and over. Now, a system that combines all of those in one is what we call an enterprise resource planning. And examples of such systems are like, if you've heard of SAP, and then you find a whole line within, just the way you have Microsoft Office, and then there is home, there is student, there is professional, and so on. So I'll not go into that confusion, but yeah, there is SAP, there is Microsoft Dynamics, there is Sun, and others. And today, I will talk about one of those, which is Odo, which is what I'm involved with today. My topic is Python for economic and career sustainability. And I've already introduced myself. I lead a small team of about 8 employees, of whom we have developers, we have implementers, field accountants, and support personnel, and we are growing. Okay, Python was created by Good Van in 1991. Where was I in 1991? Where were you? 1991, was I in senior 3 or senior 4? I think I was in senior 4, 1991. That's when the guy was trying to create Python, and he was basically trying to replace another language in trying to provide for what that language was not doing. And so its strength is on about simplicity, readability, and pragmatism. When you compare it to other programming languages, I have had opportunity. I have had opportunity to learn many languages, right from when I did the bachelor's. Mine was a Bachelor of Science, what they used to call a flat course. And I majored in mathematics. At that time, we used to have what is called Z. Meant that you guys just specialize in math. And in my class, we are 6. From second year, 6 students. So the lecturers will come and teach 6 students. And so one of the things that I did in those early years was learn programming. We did DBase, we did Pascal, and all of those had really low-level languages. And the guy made us write a line text editor, like like Notepad. Yeah. But then I moved on with Microsoft Dynamics. I learned the language they use, which is like C when I did my master's, did C, C++, did Java, and moved on. So at master's level, I had the opportunity to do a course that was called Programming Languages. And all we were doing is analyzing programming languages. Which one does what better? So it meant that you needed to understand them. There was also something else we did called ML. Has anybody heard of ML of New Jersey? ML of New Jersey? Not machine language. ML is a language, a programming language. Very tight, like 50 lines of code as a 2 or 3 in ML. So this guy had the vision to provide a simple language. This language has grown to become very popular. It's driving innovation in data science and has quite a number of frameworks. Some of them I know them by name. Others I have tried to use. I am not your very recent developer. As I've told you, I'm a developer coming from way back. So I have seen languages come, Ajax and all of that, JavaScript. When the C# came on the market, we were there. And Microsoft was almost want to say plagiarizing C++, you know? Java is also like C++. So Python has grown to really gain a big share of the market. It's among the top 3 programming languages globally and dominates data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. It's according to recent research, they say there are now 10.1 million Python developers. That is research that I looked at. That was for 2021. It is used across all industries, literally, technology, healthcare, finance, agriculture. This is from JetBeans. This research was done by JetBeans. When JetBeans did this research last year, I mean in 2021, JavaScript was 69% of JavaScript, and then followed by HTML, SQL, and then Python. They basically looked at the 10 most used programming languages. So if you are here and your interest is we have to get some training for using some of these things, yeah? Yeah, so if you will here and you really want to get into development, it's very important to understand where the world is going and where you should put your energy. The languages that people do not pay attention to, it doesn't even feature on the 10 most used languages. And I really feel disappointed about it. Do we have any C developers here? Put up your hand if you're a C developer. Do you have any communities for C developers in Uganda? Can we create one? Let me tell you. How many of us use Linux? Okay. And Linux is an OS, but we could create our own version. Call it Perl Linux. There are over 1,000 variants of Linux, but you have to know C, because these are written in. Microsoft Windows is written in. Therefore, if we do not learn C, we are making a choice to remain behind as the world goes forward, because we will not innovate if we do not go for the hard stuff. The young man I mentored with in Canada joined the school a little bit late, and so he quickly switched. He saw that in the second semester we were going to do C, but when he was in my office being mentored, he did C, A to Z. And so he requested that they allow him to do that course unit in the first semester because he was late for a certain course unit, and so it would challenge his progress. So he did, and he got an A, but he's doing software engineering, no, not software engineering, computer engineering, and they actually teach them C deeply so that they're able to manipulate electronics boards and so on. So it's very important, but it's not even featuring among the 10 most used languages. I know that Rust is coming up. How many of us have heard about Rust? Yeah, Rust is coming up, and the guy who started Linux is still alive and maintaining it. And he says he's trying to rewrite the kernel in Rust. So again, the low-level tough guys, you need to begin thinking about what? About Rust. This is what has been happening to some of the languages. That line that is dropping from up there that you see, that is Visual Basic. And then there is also C. C has really dropped in around 2016, 17. It really, really dipped, but then went back up and so on. But this is a graph from a research done by TOB about the programming index. Now, TOB maintains a monthly update on what is happening with the programming languages. And this is as of October. And what do you see on top? We see Python is on top as of October, followed by C. And I'm glad that people have picked up C globally. And then there is C++, Java, and then C# and JavaScript. There are things like JavaScript, HTML, CSS. I almost don't want to call them languages because literally almost everybody who does whatever they are doing, they need it somewhere, somehow. Okay, so they don't stand distinct on their own. They are mixed into what else we do. Like you do Python, you need JavaScript to do certain things somewhere. Okay. What are Python's strengths? It's very easy to learn and very versatile. It has got extensive libraries, Django, Pandas, TensorFlow. Its cross-platform compatibility makes it a great choice of a language to use because you develop once, you deploy on all platforms. It's open source, and open source fosters collaboration and innovation. Again, I have had the argument, we really need a strong open source movement. I hope it's something we can also start in this country. There is a lot of money that we are spending. I have been a project manager on a project, I'll not say which institution, because these are confidential things, but they bought the software $3.5 million from a company in UK together with a company in Israel. And when I got onto the project, 2 years down the road, it wasn't working. So they brought me on board to do project management, and it started working. And there were a lot of gaps. It was more of a legacy system. I saw that with $1 million and the talent we have in the country, we could actually build a good system. And so I do have this advocacy that government needs to change their way of doing things and let you guys take charge. We have IFMS. IFMS is an integrated financial management system. When I was still working for Clear Africa, we bidded to provide IFMS. It was a very, very competitive bid that we had to go in with Microsoft himself and with IBM themselves, based on the specification of what they needed, like the capacity for deployment of servers. You needed to be with the real guys that make those servers. We didn't go through. Some other company went through. So we are, as a country, tied to Oracle, and we pay millions of dollars every year just for licensing. But open source could actually provide us endpoint solutions. If you look at companies like Germany, companies like China, countries, and they have resolved to use open source in their government, you wonder why us who are still dependent on donors, we still want to pay for licenses. You can imagine how many are being used in all the government institutions put together. So Python does have quite a number of benefits, Riverline codes, fast development, extensive libraries. Our Hassan here has proved that you can't be here, and if you are, the word he uses is intellectual curiosity. If you are intellectually curious, the beauty about computing, and we are in the right space, is that it is an equalizer. If you're here, you have your laptop, you can do what the guy in US can do, okay? You just need a few things to take care of your needs, because that's usually the biggest distress. You want to concentrate, learn this thing, but then you have no rent, or you have no lunch. These are small things that we can solve, okay? And I really want to engage the Minister of Science, Technology, and Innovation, that we can do some of these things. Or when you have a computer, you can equalize. So Hassan wrote a library, okay? Plot 9, which is about Python, and is from Uganda. And you know what? Even the minister and the vice chancellor, they don't know him. So it's a very good language, and his story is that he basically saw a gap, he saw a need, he learned the language. He didn't even know it already. Yeah, he learned the language. And then he did what he is able to do. That's the beauty of programming. You can sit down, learn a language, and work at a goal. What you need is some serious focus. Python's ecosystem, it has a very robust ecosystem of libraries and frameworks. And because it is moving up the ladder, it's therefore receiving a lot of funding. So it's used by tech giants like Google, like Netflix, and NASA, to even program some of the space rocket functionalities. It's adaptable across industries, startups to enterprise, and supports AI, supports automation, supports data analytics. In fact, it is threatening to have something Python that does what JavaScript is. I think we've heard of PyScript. Yeah? PyScript is trying to do what JavaScript. Yes. Okay. So I cannot talk about Python, therefore, without talking about open source software. I've already given a bit of a foundation to that, but open source software in general reduces costs and fosters innovation. And as a rebel, I actually decided to quit paid software completely. I use Linux and I use LibreOffice, and literally everything I use is free and open source. And even this presentation, I did it with Libre. And I'm presenting it in Microsoft PowerPoint. Absolutely nothing has changed. You understand what I'm saying? So why are we spending the little money that we would use to do the roads to pay for Microsoft licenses? It has to go and start down strategically, that we would start to direct people, like when you are in school, you guys who are still in school, instead of taking you ICDL, you know what is nice? I did not found a track of open source or LibreOffice or OpenOffice in ICDL. You get? So instead of doing that, we would focus on open source so that every child or student in school, they are really using open source tools. So that means that when you come out to the employment, they can use open source because there are people who already know how to use. The challenge today is if I give someone LibreOffice, they don't know where to go to format the document, because what they know is, well, that's what is being asked for, that's what has been told, and so on. So it takes a strategy. Collaborative model, global community. I have source code for a lot of applications on my computer. I have an accounting system that I have the entire source code. You can go download the source code of Ubuntu. You understand what I'm talking about? So collaborative community puts a lot of power in our hands. Startups, emerging markets, creates career opportunities across roles and industries. I work with an open source software. The Odoo ERP is an open source software. And some people sometimes think that when you do open source, because it sounds like open source software, free open source, there is no money. Okay? But apparently, you find that 90% or 99, between 90, I don't have the exact percentage, of servers on the internet are actually using open source resources. You're using Linux. If you go to banks, the backbone runs on Linux. You go to telecom, the backbone runs on Linux. So what happens is that there's need for proper support and maintenance, and so you always have an enterprise version, and that already creates a track for income. But also the community editions, which are mandatory by the policies of open source, therefore also require and mean that there would need to be people who understand the open source platform to deploy it and to maintain it. So I made a conscious decision in 2015. I used to go to Dubai every year to launch. Our company has been a premier most valued partner for Intuit QuickBooks, which is an accounting software. But when I saw the direction switching to online, I actually saw strategically where we are going to be kicked out because we are selling desktop applications. And with desktop applications, we had license commissions of up to 35%. And I'll give you a picture. I have a client, we deployed over 20 branches, Living Goods, if you have seen Living Goods anywhere, with a point of sale on QuickBooks. And the license could cost about $1,800. And that is one license. So if you have a branch that needs 4 licenses, you are at about $5,000. So 35% just on a license before you offer service was some good money to sustain a company. But now when we started to move online, I realized that there's not going to be enough business. And that's the year I looked at Tiny ERP in Dubai, carried the brochures, started to venture into it. I looked at a lot of other softwares. I have no time to go into them. But then we're also maintaining Microsoft Dynamics, which is used by organizations like National Drug Authority, Straight Talk Foundation, all the NIDA-funded projects. And those are projects that I was actually supporting. I have developed in Dynamics for like 20 years. I can do anything. I know just no longer have time to do that. But if there is a task, I can precisely determine what needs to be done. Now, this Odo provides a solution that tries to replace all small applications an organization will need to have. An NetPara system here, a stock management system there, an email marketing platform there, constant contact or MailChimp, and so on. So this guy started off, I think he wanted to solve his daddy's problem, if I remember the story very well. And that's how he started Tiny ERP, which later became Odo, Odo is, I think, something to do with, it's an abbreviation of object-oriented, I think, data something. That's how the name came when they changed the name. But in Odo, you literally have everything in the ecosystem that an organization will ever need to run. And it's open source. You can go and download the entire source code of the Odo application. Now, because of that, it provides an app store, the way you have Google Store and the way you have Apple Store. And so you can write your apps and put them in the App Store. I should have done a search on apps that have been written. For example, we have here for Airtel payments, MTN payments, and so on. So the idea is that when you deploy Odo, upon deployment like this, you're ready to do MTN, Airtel payments. Now, you can see that this is a game changer, isn't it? Someone else is going to spend a lot of time trying to build this integration into a software. Here is a software which is open source and it's already working out of the box. Now, this screen is specifically to show you, I want you to look at the price and the number of purchases. The first one here, the dashboard that someone did, is calling it Dashboard Ninja. It's a dashboard that looks at all the apps and provides a dashboard where like management can see everything in one place. That dashboard has been bought 2,295 times and it costs $400. Can someone do quick math and tell me, for that one app that person has done on an open source platform, how much money have they made? Meaning, therefore, that when you do on an open source platform a solution that the world needs, you can actually make money with a lot of ease because the entire world becomes your market. Just the same way someone in Chicago will put an app on that platform, the same way you in Uganda, you will also put your app on the same one platform and money will flow coming into your account. Among the young men that I mentor is one who is in electronics, and he had dropped out of S4. He's now back to Nakawa trying to get a diploma. But he has authored like 5 courses on Udemy. How many of us know Udemy? Yeah, the guy is so good. He's Sarah. I mean, he's almost at professor level in understanding motherboards and so on. He literally has fixed laptops that he said they were impossible. He will fix any phone. He will talk about different phone boards and what the differences are in them and so on. So I actually told him, I introduced him to Udemy and to authoring courses, and he has authored courses. And so he's joined the global earning. These courses, people are just a video course at $50 per student. The money comes to his what? Account. So he's fairly comfortable. Senior 6, actually senior 4 dropout. He didn't finish senior 6. And then when I met him, he had also dropped out of Nakawa. He had done one term. That's a story for another day. But what I wanted to show here is that the open source software can actually be a great source of earning, economically and career-wise. It's a very viable option. Where do Python developers work? We've already talked, I have seen, we have had workshops and so on. So it's made everything easy for me. Web development is one area. Data science is another area. I attended down there a session on data science from Joanita from Stanbic. There were guys in another room doing machine learning, artificial intelligence, automation. Those are areas, and roles will be like full stack developer, data scientist, AI engineer, DevOps engineer, and those are the kind of roles that these people do. And the sectors are generally healthcare, finance, cybersecurity, agriculture, literally every sector. Our work spans, I told you what Odo looks like, so we span sectors. We have given a complete system to a hospital and connected its branches, and it took us 6 months to complete the deployment. The guy couldn't believe. We have given a complete system to an academic institution from application to issuing transcripts, and we've built it on top of Odo. Basically taking advantage of what is already working and concentrating on closing the gaps. So the roles look like this: Python developer, machine learning engineer, web developer, DevOps engineer, data scientist, data analyst, AI engineer, software engineer, and others. And the beauty is that these roles are everywhere. That's, by the way, the beauty of computing. Whether you studied in Uganda or you studied in America, if you know your stuff, you basically will be taken up anywhere, anytime, upon showing up and showing what you can do. They work in organizations like Instagram, Google, Shopify, Netflix, Uber, Dropbox, Pinterest, Instacart, Reddit, Life, name it, just to mention a few. These are all tools that are employing Python. Looking at the ladder, again, you see Python remains on top of the ladder. There's Java. I loved Java. I remember when I was doing my master's, at some point I even got 100% in, was it a test or an exam? But I didn't do very much with Java after school, you know. Okay, let's look at Python in Uganda. Some of the people that I've spoken to you have already helped me again make this very simple. Joshua from IDI, Caesar from IDI. He must have told you he did a master's here in Arusha in embedded systems, and then he ended up in IDI and is doing predictive models. So it's being used, web development, in data analysis, in artificial intelligence, in all of those sectors that we've talked about, and it's really steadily driving digital transformation. This guy here in a t-shirt with is that brown or orange? The colors, the ladies know the colors better. What color is that on the collar? He was my staff. I started mentoring him. We go to the same church. So that's how we happened to come for internship in 2018. And that was the first time I introduced him to Odo. All the guys that came that year, I introduced them to Odo, challenged them to research, make a presentation, and so on. And that's when he first got into Odo. But he's also a singer. He's a worshiper. He had a singing group. And when he finished and I started working with him, it was very much divided between the two. And I sat him down and I told him, you have got to focus. You either go for the singing or you build a career in IT. You will not be able to do both and be effective. Because today he says he has a TV show. And it doesn't work like that. If we have a project, projects have strict deadlines. And IT young people that want to grow need to learn when to put away this completely and focus. If you do not master this, you actually can't go very far. It's one of the distractions. He chose to go for music. I said bye-bye. 2 years down the road, he came back and said, you know what? That was 2021. He said, I need a job. He had quit the music, didn't come to me. They tried to start a smaller company. He said, I've written proposals like 20 and none of them have I been given a job. So I said, are you ready? He said, yes. So I tested him. I gave him an assignment for 3 months to do the website. So if you visit our website, rbmafrica.com, he's the one who did it. Then I worked with him. Now he started to speed up, and I noticed that his strength was in analysis. He's a very, very good analyst. So I did projects with him. I kept him next to me on some of the major assignments I had. Like, I was a business analyst on a project in Petroleum Authority, and I did that project literally with him in the background. He's the one who did the modeling and all of that. So he sped up, and in a space of just about 2 years, he landed an international job. He worked for One Acre Fund, and this picture you see is in Abuja. He's a business analyst for Odo, because One Acre Fund has added Odo on the stack of tech that they use. And so he's really enjoying life, because One Acre Fund has about 8,000 employees globally, and it's in about 37 countries, 9 in Africa. So he's all over. He's in Rwanda today. Tomorrow he's in Zambia. The other day he's in Malawi and all of that. So I already have talked about Odo as an ERP. I've also explained what an ERP is. My time is fast spent. I need to be closing. There are about 750 users of Odo in Uganda. And Odo is entirely Python. Entirely Python. It uses PostgreSQL database, which is again the top open source database, and Python. There's a small mix of JavaScript, CSS, HTML, XML. That's all you need to do everything you will see in Odo. And those are the different applications: real estate management, fleet management, BI analysis. Odo, for example, has built BI to a level that you can put an invoice in a scanner connected to the application, scan the invoice, and the system reads the invoice and enters the invoice without the user having to punch in anything. Isn't that amazing? Just using OCR. And then what am I saying? That source code is also available for you to understand how is this done. And you could be building another project of your own where you want this level of automation. How do you build a career in Python? Number one, start with the basics. Understand syntax, the object-oriented programming, the common libraries that are used. And the beauty with programming is once you have learned a language, if it's an object-oriented language, to onboard a new language takes 2 weeks. If you just settle down, 2 weeks, you're a developer in that language. Like now, me, when I was on Java and then C++, when I wanted to do Microsoft Dynamics and learn Seaside, we were in Nairobi for 2 weeks. And I became a developer in that. So it's not very difficult to learn a new language if you are a developer. But again, if you're not a developer, don't lose heart. The thing cuts across many things. I already told you he's an analyst, so he's not a developer. The example I've given you of the guy, he's an analyst. In fact, he just did the Python course when he was in my office. I told him he had to do a certification in Python, just so he understands the language. But basically, his strength is in analysis. And what is analysis? We don't have time to talk about that. Choose an application specialization. Is it web dev? Is it analysis? Is it data science? Is it machine language? Or is even none of those? There is a lot of soft areas where we need to interface with users. Someone needs to understand what users are saying and say it to the technical people properly. Build portfolio, do some personal projects, contribute. You know, Hassan started by contributing before he did what he did. Intern somewhere, you know. Be available. I have had some young people who do not know anything really, who come to me, they want a job, but they already say they want at least $1 million. But you're coming to my office, you know nothing, I'm going to train you, and you want me to pay you $1 million. Right? We were looking for opportunities to volunteer. All I want is an environment. I'm going to show you a system we've worked on. You want to be on such a project. Then you understand the in and out of the project. So please do volunteer. And then showcase your projects. GitHub offers you. Get certification in your path and join communities, attend events like this one. I have attended the PyLadies. Can we make PyLadies really active and productive? We recently started something called MOOC Odo chapter. How many are here from Makerere University? There are few. Okay, I studied in Makerere University, bachelor's, master's. Is the PhD I'm doing from out. I'm doing it online. Let's look at this case study. We built an academic management system, which is student application and admission, payment collection, training, learning module, membership management. The institution is a membership-based institution. So there's also membership management. Members applying, renewing their membership, and upgrading membership, and being able to pay annual subscription automatically online without necessarily interfacing. And only members can study in that institution. I think we are missing in the country an institute for IT. And we really, really need it, because that's the only way we can certify our people. In the National Development Plan, we are talking about human capital. If we build our human capital, cybersecurity, or what, you will be here and work anywhere. I have many young people that have gone in my hands. Some of them have later gone to Andela, and they work from home. And they are doing development on projects from around the world. So it gives you a lot of freedom. So it offers exam results and the student dashboard. Okay, so there we go. Oops. My slides have refused to show. They are showing on my my what here. I don't know what to do to have them. Want us to just duplicate it? It still won't bring them, but yeah, at least I can show them. Okay, what I had put were live screens from the staging environment, just to show you the complexity of the system that I'm talking about. From admission, you apply online, the system emails you the invoice, and then you actually pay. We integrated with school pay, we integrated with a bank. I'll not mention which bank for confidentiality purposes, that if you go to the bank and you pay, the system automatically receives your payment, does the handshake, and stamps your invoice as paid. So finance doesn't have to do anything. You have a student portal, you log in, you see your payment. Actually, you are the one to click confirm on the invoices that you want to do what? To go and pay. We integrated with Zoom, because after COVID, they became almost 100% online. And so the project started when they had classrooms. It ended when we are on Zoom. So we integrated with the Zoom, that from inside the system, they schedule an entire classroom, and the system sends links to every student and sends you a reminder when your Zoom class is going to be, tracks your attendance and produces attendance register, which is used as a percentage of attendance and the percentage of payment to qualify to sit exam. And was that an angle here like this? Was that an angle? To qualify to sit exam, and the system will issue the permit. It will send the permit in your portal. You log into the portal, and when you sit the exam, it will send the results to you. You will log into the portal, see your results, and you will also be able to print off your ID. You'll be able to print off your certificate, except that for the certificate, you need to get it printed on, you know, the reasons why. It has got to be a certain type of document. I'll just try and wind up. I wanted to show you those screens, and I'd already worked on them to close off and hide any information that identifies the institution. So I can't log into the system, even if I have access to it, because that is confidential. Even if it's a staging environment, it's still confidential. And unless I get permission from them, I would not want to show data that can identify them or identify anybody. Now, opportunities for graduates. Career paths, you can be an Odoo developer, you can be an ERP consultant, even if you didn't do IT or computer science, there are actually opportunities in this track. You can be a system administrator, you can be a business analyst. And let me tell you, all you need is to be good at what you do. I told you I'm a Christian, so in the Bible it says that show me a man who is good in what he does. You will not serve before obscure men. It doesn't really matter what you do. Even if all you do is dance. There is this guy who was taken to the airport to dance for the queen when the queen came. You know that guy? Who would make his stomach dance? There's also a guy who makes pancakes that everybody knows. When you hear the song Kibesa and Kalewa, you know the guy of the pancakes is around. So if you are good at what you do, sometimes even qualifications, especially in IT, universal qualifications don't matter. Our administrator, we have quite a number of online servers that we administer because of the various systems we do. I just mentioned the two, but we've deployed so many and we have so many clients. So we have a lot of online servers we administer. And the young man who administers those servers came as an intern from Nakawa. Nakawa is here. Yes, from Nakawa. I think MTAC. Yeah, I think he came from MTAC. He was doing a diploma. And he really chased me down, but he had been referred to me by someone I respect. So I think it took him like 2 weeks to track me down and get me. He came, he did internship. At the end of internship, I realized the guy was good. First thing was, when he came, he had a laptop, he was using Debian. I'm like, okay, this is a different guy. He uses Debian, that's good. And I just felt in me that I had someone to take away the burden from me because I was directly managing the what? The servers, and I didn't have anybody. As I speak today, maybe there's only 1 or 2 people who use Microsoft in our office, and maybe the server, which we are also shifting soon because we bought a server. We want to do bare metal deployment and have a stack of servers on that server. But that young man, we retained him. He did his second year while working with us, and we're paying him. And I started mentoring him seriously. Today, he is really, really good, you know. The things that, I don't remember the name of the lady was talking about down there, firewalling, managing logs, and so on and so forth. Because you need someone who can backstop those things anytime something happening. When you deploy a server, you need to harden the server immediately because there are crawlers all over the internet trying to look for servers, especially from China. If you have your proper check, you will see where the attacks seem to be coming from, brute force attacks, and all kinds of attacks. And that young man does them very well. What I did is I asked him to do, and I paid for it, a certification in Linux administration. So now I'm telling him he needs to go and do his bachelor's. But he doesn't even have a bachelor's, and he's good. He's not let me down. He's also a guy of integrity. Recently brought me a Coke to say thank you, that his parents said that I had really built him up, and it's the mom who sent me the Coke. So these are some of the opportunities you can have. Odoo is growing on demand in this country, and it's a Python-based platform that can provide you a long-term career prospect. So if you can align with it, whether you're a developer or you're looking for a career within there, now they have set an office in Kenya, and all you need to do is understand the technology and understand to be able to explain it. And the Kenyan ladies who are now managing the sales in East Africa. So my parting remark is Python is a driver for innovation and economic growth. The opportunities in AI, web development, automation, and in ERPs. Uganda is poised to lead the Python adoption. Let's embrace Python and create impactful solutions for this market. With Odoo, you can create a lot of solutions. I have told you about. There is FRIS, there's integrations with FRIS, integrating the ERP with URA's platform, so people just do their selling and the transactions go to URA. Just a question of API. Odoo has open APIs. I think We've not the apps, but we have like 20 we have written in the process, mainly of doing this project, which refuse to show. The slides have refused to come on there, but I see them here. Maybe because I was trying to tinker with them, making sure that I don't reveal confidential stuff. Yeah, so there are huge opportunities in that track. So if you're looking for a path, I welcome you to the path of Odo. Thank you very much. I think if you have any questions, I will just stay here a bit. Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. It's been nice. You have actually talked about Odo, and I have really big interest in it because actually in my previous school, they had this software they were using for learner management, and it was actually disturbing a lot. The first one was online, called, okay, I won't disclose the name, but it was so difficult to deal with. And since you have now talked about Odo, I would like to know, like, how does it actually work? Does it have like a graphical user interface, or I actually have to go in the code and edit the code itself? Is it like a drag and drop feature whereby if you need this, just bring it wherever, or it's like you can write some code somewhere and then just be calling stuff that is already made?
Okay. I'm waiting for any more questions so
Yeah.
that I can.
Question?
Thank you, Robert. And my question is, I understand you developing solutions, right? Software solutions. How do you deal with pricing them out to your customers here in Uganda?
How do you do?
Pricing your solutions, because you find most of us, if we are developing custom software solutions, we find it a challenge knowing how much we can charge them or how much we can charge them later on for maintenance and other things like that. How do you find the ideal way to quantify your product and say it's worth this amount or worth this work?
Okay. One more.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Actually, I just want to understand what really Odo is, if you can throw more light on it.
What?
What you have explained is Odo.
Odo. Okay.
Yeah, if you can throw more light on it. Thank you.
Wherever you are, in the meantime, anybody just do www.odo.com, ODOO.com. And also on YouTube, there are numerous videos about Odo. Okay, let me start with his question. The question was, how does Odo work? Okay, Odo, I will combine with his, is an enterprise resource planning system. It's a system that is built and has facilities and features for managing an organization across the board, from literally each and everything I have tried to do here. Okay. Okay. At least I've got to put somewhere a few screens that I can show you there. So it's a system that is ready to go. By the way, it also has a web builder, and you tomorrow, by a week, you could have a website built on Odo. You go to odo.co.ug .coug is our domain. Odo.com is the international one. We own the local domain. You can be able to do your website quickly on Odo. Odo sits the way you would have Google, and you have your Google email address on Google. It sits somewhere in Belgium. That's where it started. And I don't know, servers are all over. And so you can subscribe, create an account, and do your stuff. Once you create an account, you go to the App Store, you enable or activate the apps that you are interested in. AI, SMS marketing. It even already has integration with WhatsApp. Can you believe? So you might be building a system and you want to integrate with WhatsApp. You know where to start. Odo is already integrated with WhatsApp. But I can do the invoice and send it to you on, or to my clients on WhatsApp or SMS, whatever that I want. Now, that is, in terms of a solution, it's a solution for every aspect of the business. It can be subscribed online and you work online. But now when you are trying to do deployments, you could have your own server. You can put it on your laptop. If it was mine that was presenting, I would have jumped to a couple of systems that I have on my laptop. Odo built their own server, web server, so that when you install, it doesn't interfere with your Nginx, it doesn't interfere with your Apache. It has an Odo web server that works on a certain unique port, 869. So it deploys this port and works localhost, and you are what? You're working. But you can have it online. Of course, you know, once you have localhost, you can go online. So you could deploy the server in the cloud, get a server, install. I first struggled a lot with Odo on Windows before I totally switched to Linux. I was there fiddling, doing virtual machines, then they stole my laptop. I went to Mbarara, do something, and they stole my laptop. They were lucky there was even money in the laptop bag that could buy another laptop. So when I came back, the next laptop available in office was having Linux. I picked that, started working. When I bought another laptop, I just decided I want to go back to Windows. But it is much easier to deploy on Linux than on Windows. Very surprising. 1, 2, 3 commands and everything is working. And if you are new, you could Google Odo installation scripts for version this. We just launched version 18. The launch has happened in Belgium. This month, October, we've just launched version 18. Right now, there is 17. So when you go online, you'll be seeing screens for version 18. But they are scripts. So when you get a script, you mention the version. And when you mention the version, read a bit to know which OS can work. I would not encourage you to go for version 18. I would say go for 17. It's more stable for you to not face bugs that you do not know whether it's you who is failing or it's the system that is doing what? Failing. And then for Linux, I use 2310. My Ubuntu is 2310, but I would probably recommend do 22. Any 22 would give you a better sail through, because it works with Postgre, and you might face a Postgre issue here, and so on. It's very good if you understand virtual environments, and with Python, virtual environments is a mainstay, isn't it? Because with virtual environments, you can actually do a lot of deployments of different, let's say you want to have Postgre this version, Postgre that version, like 5 different versions of Postgre for different things that you do that need those different versions. So you need the virtual environment. But for straightforward, you really are not even tinkering about different environments. You just want your Linux or your Windows, go. There's a download button on the website. Go for community. They only want your name, email, and you download. Even on Windows, you will install, but it might disturb you a bit. Join the Makerere University chapter for Odo. We will be doing sessions, training sessions, so for those who want to learn. But also it's easy to ask questions from there and receive answers. I get busy sometimes, really busy. So yes, I'm going to give you my contact. I didn't put it. But you may chase me down and you are failing to get me like for a whole day. So if you are on a platform where other people could give you answers, it helps. So basically, that's how you, these things of cloud server, what, they really come later. And for your information, by the way, you can get a cloud server for just $5. Okay? For just $5. I first worked with Linode. I tried AWS. I think it's somewhere up there. I don't like it. I said bye-bye to AWS. But you see people talk AWS, they talk Google, they talk Office 365. You go to identify what really works for you. So I did Linode, and I do servers from others, DigitalOcean and so on. There are many hosting companies that provide virtual private servers from as little as $5, and you could do an online server. These things help you think around and gain and build what? Experience. Now, you asked about the interface. This is what I missed to show you. This is exams and graduation. This is still a staging environment, but I still didn't want to put any of the names we have used because some of them are real names of real people. But you see the marks, score, weighted out. So this is an interface we built. You see says in process, and that is really the screen for the. So it's a graphical user interface. This is a student account. I have logged in as a fake student we created called Osikishon. And this is his account. He's logged in, he's looking at his invoices. Some are paid. Others, the paid ones, you can download the receipt. The ones that are not paid, it says are waiting for payment. There is a button, pay now. You click on that button, pops up all the payment options, school pay, bank pay, debit card, credit card, PayPal, all of those, they really come handy and quick. And then you can pay. So as a student, you actually can go into your account and look at different parts of the account. Yeah, I don't know. Have I answered all the questions? What was the question? The pricing, yes. If you go to odo.com, you will see apps. Click on apps, and then go down, third-party apps. There are thousands and thousands of third-party apps done from around the world. Now, in the submission of any app, you're supposed to include number of lines of code and so on. Now, those are the factors that you really use to determine the pricing. Now, if you're looking at international, the number of lines of code and also what the app does becomes a factor. There are some big companies on Odo that are offering you things that you are struggling to build, and they're even offering it free of charge. Because they have bigger things they have built, and the common sense of open source, something back to the what? To the community. So for example, a company called Cybrosys in India has a complete HR with appraisal, recruitment, what? Free of charge. Yeah? Free of charge. So when it comes to pricing, it depends on what the product is doing and what market you're targeting. And then Uganda is a price-sensitive market. That's also, then it also depends on the competition. What I have learned is that sometimes when you want to build capacity, you have to know what you want to measure on first. So if you start with the pricing, you fail to get people to buy your product. Yeah? So when we developed this system I've shown you, at some point I regretted we took it on. But then I never take on something I not complete it. But we took it on for very little money. And we took it on because someone who took it on had failed to deliver. And they had paid him 75% of the money. So the deal was, can you do this for the remaining money, the 25%? So we actually did it for a quarter of what it was worth when the project was dreamt. But then out of doing it, we've basically built a lot of expertise. We've built a lot of integrations. I've told you, integrated with the bank, we've integrated with the FCU, we've integrated with School Pay, we've integrated with Zoom, we've integrated with QuickBooks Online, a lot of integrations that they are painful, but we had to do. Now, after doing them, and the system is working, now we are doing a migration. We've been building a tool to migrate people who are on QuickBooks that want to go to Odo, that we just run that tool and all the data goes and lands in the right place. Okay? Now, that client has paid me like a quarter of what the integration is costing us. But the idea is that after that integration is done, the next client will pay. You understand what I mean? Because the client wants to say, where have you ever done it? And I would say, we migrated so and so is happy. And now I don't have any more work to do except the actual process of migrating. The tool is already built. When we try to get a company to do for us from out there, even when we're on this project, when we're building the membership module, the guys asked me for $6,000 to build the membership module alone. I gave up. But I have a very, very senior developer. I wish I can pull him into supporting. He used to work for telecom and so on. He's been very, very helpful in building these things because he's got very, very in-depth understanding. So the pricing really is a judgment you have to make depending on what you want, and also your viability of your product, how many people use it. Because if you built an app that 100 people will want, if you did $100, that's $10,000 will come into your pocket, and you are not there. You've put it on the Play Store, and they are downloading and paying 100. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robert. For more questions, you can meet him